to the latest episode of GPR, episode 157. I am your host, Davey Beauchamp, and I'm joined by my amazing co-host,
Drew Meyer. And as of time of recording, it's only 3 days to the beginning of Series A. Something that BBC wants to remind us of by showing us multiple 10-second teaser clips that are counting down, starting from 5 days, 4 days, today we had 3 days.
Well, technically we're past 3 days. It's 2 days and a handful of hours now. I'm being nerdy because I saw the countdown clock. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And before we go any further, I just want to take a quick moment to say happy birthday to Sophie Aldred and Sylvester McCoy.
Happy birthday, guys.
Happy birthday, and I gotta say, I've met both of you in the past. You guys are absolutely wonderful individuals, and I look forward to hopefully one day actually, along with my co-host here, interviewing you for the show. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Rumors.
Rumors.
And actually, not many rumors for once.
Okay. Shall we call it unsubstantiated and undefended rumor?
Yes.
If you've been on the internet and you are a Doctor Who fan, and if you're watching the show, why wouldn't you fall into those categories? Why are you putting... Oh my...
Because this is part of our rumor.
Rumor has it, this according to the Mirror in the UK,
yes,
that Jenna Coleman will be leaving the show as of Christmas. Do we know this is happening? We don't. The BBC has not come out to defend either for or against this opinion, but the internet's just going with it.
What do you think? Before I get into it.
Well, last week I do believe I said that certainly if she was going to leave, they weren't going to tell us about it.
Yes.
So I wish I could say I would stick with this one. However, if she has plans and someone caught wind of it and they jumped the gun, which is something that does happen occasionally with the Doctor Who, I don't know. I'm really excited to see Jenna Coleman in Series 8, where she will not be bogged down with the Impossible Girl storyline. So I really want to see what happens. She would be the first companion, I think, since Rose, I guess, where didn't have some kind of weird mystery. No, I guess Martha didn't really have a weird mystery to her. So anyway, since Moffat's run, that didn't have a weird mystery, so it'd be kind of neat just to see her be her. So.
Yeah, no, the reason why I got hounded all weekend long about this news article. I read it, and there were some glaring mistakes in the article.
Sure.
With them stating that she was like the longest running companion, this and that. And I'm just kind of like, a lot of people ask me, is this true? Is this true? I'm like, look, I don't know, but I can tell you that this article has glaring facts wrong, and so I'm hard pressed to believe it. And the fact that none of the other big news sites have picked up on it, have talked about it. Because this would be huge entertainment news.
Oh yeah, certainly. If it was confirmed by BBC, we certainly would have known about it. But at least it's been taken by quasi-seriously by enough people that if we didn't mention it, there we go. That's the current rumor.
Yeah.
If the BBC had come out and said, "Hey, this is not happening," we wouldn't have even mentioned it. But they're not, and so.
But here's the thing: the reason why I don't think they're saying one way or another right now is because one, they may not know, and two, they want to focus on the new series. Mm-hmm. They want to focus on any of the news stories right now. They want to focus on the premiere and the world tour and the cinema event.
By this date, has come to an end.
It has.
Yeah.
And it was a huge smash everywhere it went, from what I can tell.
Sounds like it. Yeah. Did you watch any of the live streaming video with or without sound?
No, because I was worried about spoilers.
I didn't watch it either, mainly because they weren't going to tell us any new information, and it's not something I'm not going to hear in any interview. I would love to be there in person, but it's not really my thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Fraser Hines news. We finally found out what the mysterious tweet was about.
Certainly.
He's going to be appearing on the TV show Outlander.
Yes, he is.
And what I found fascinating, which I didn't know, his character, Jamie McCrimmon, was the inspiration for that series of novels.
Have you read any of those?
No, but Maya has, and she absolutely loves them.
And you have seen the first episode of the show.
I've seen the first episode. Yeah, I liked it, but it's not my cup of tea per se. But as long as Maya's watching it, I'll watch it.
Sure.
I'm gonna give it a chance, especially now that we have Fisher Hines coming on.
Oh, sure. Fisher Hines comes on, we'll watch it.
Yeah, I mean, but from what I can tell is if you're a fan of Downton Abbey, you're gonna love the show. It is a period piece, and even though that the BBC is not actually doing it, I think they're doing a pretty good job.
Who's putting it together?
All I know is it's being shown on Stars.
Oh.
So Stars has worked with BBC in the past. BBC might be helping out on some level. I haven't looked at the credits. I never even thought of there being a Doctor Who connection to this until all this came out, and I think it's pretty awesome that Doctor Who helps spawn a series of books that has a huge following.
Yeah,
and now it's been turned into a TV show.
Yeah.
Good going.
Hey, speaking of Doctor Who TV shows,
Yes.
tell us about this extra that we're going to
Yes. We just found out today, which is Wednesday the 20th for us, with us recording, that they're going to start up a thing called Doctor Who Extra. It seems like it's going to be very much like Doctor Who Confidential. The only real problem with this show is it's going to be a BBC iPlayer exclusive. What does that mean for us in America? No idea. They might do a spin-off for iTunes or for BBC America. We don't know. But it looks like it's going to be very similar to Confidential, where they're going behind the scenes of the program, having access to the actors, and it's going to come out weekly along with the show. So who knows?
And it's going to begin with Series 8, correct?
Series 8, yes, because they want to follow the new Doctor from his humble origins and beginnings.
Yeah, and I think this is great because I am still playing catch up on the original Doctor Who Confidential, which it's fascinating to me because that's the kind of stuff that I like sometimes even more than the show. Because even the worst Doctor Who episode still is going to have something fascinating to go along with it.
Yeah, no, I gotta say I really enjoy the behind the scenes stuff, especially for the classic stuff because those people are dying. That is I mean we're talking 50 years of history here, and just capturing this stuff, I think is really important because it's something that I think people have taken seriously.
Absolutely.
For a long time. The sci-fi culture, fantasy culture that spans the world. I mean, I think because with Star Trek, Star Wars, all this stuff, I think it's important to have these historical look behind the curtain, behind the scenes,
Sure.
so we can just know how it's done.
So we got a new show. Looking forward to seeing that
Yes.
in whatever form we can.
Exactly.
Maybe eventually they'll make it available to us. It could be appearing on the DVDs.
I was going to say, if anything, it's going to be on the Blu-rays or DVDs.
If anything, Doctor Who fandom and nerd culture, that Venn diagram is very closely associated. It will be eventually on the internet. We'll eventually get our hands on it. That being said, you have less than 10 days before DragonCon.
Yes, DragonCon, very exciting. Yeah, I guess right after the premiere of Doctor Who, the movie, I'm at DragonCon, where I'll be definitely on at least 2 Doctor Who panels. And the really cool thing is, and this sort of leads into, we should switch some stuff around, Doctor Who Legacy. I was chatting with the folks at Doctor Who Legacy, Lee and Susan, and they have given us 1,000 codes for Doctor Who Legacy that are going to tie into DragonCon with some stuff that you, kind of like we did before where we gave away the War Doctor and the Third Doctor. I'm not going to tell you who we're going to be giving away because if you're at DragonCon, I want you to come to the panels. I want you to get yourself a code so you could, if you don't have these characters, I just gave something away. They're going to be characters we're giving away. That you get a chance to, grab these things and find out, who we're giving away this time. But it's very exciting.
That's very cool.
Yeah, 1,000 codes. So definitely, make sure you're at one of the 2 Doctor Who panels I'm on, or track me down. I might have a spare code or 2 that I hold behind to give away to people that come up to me and say, "Hey, I watch you on GPR. I love your show. I got some codes to give away."
Cool.
Yes.
Hey, speaking of, we need to redact something we said last week when we were talking about Greyhound 1. We said that the game ends abruptly. Well, it turns out that the game ends exactly where it was supposed to end. It just feels abruptly for the both of us because we already had several of the characters that would have been awarded at that point in time. So kind of the big payoff to the end of that, we had already gotten codes for.
Do we know what the payoff was?
Well, you got Davison.
No, Davison was before that.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, you have it leveled specifically for the 5th Doctor, and then you kill on a little while he's longer, and then it just ends.
Oh, well, we'd already had him, so I guess it just ends. Anyway, that being said, there is not a fault with the game. The game ends at the storyline, and I assume that the next story arc, possibly even Series 8, will continue after that. Speaking of Series 8, we have been informed, and it's been on the websites for Doctor Who Legacy, that shortly after each episode premieres on a Saturday, either that night or the following day, Doctor Who Legacy will release a specific, possibly episode-specific level to go along with that. Do we know that means we're going to be getting the Capaldi Doctor? We don't. We actually don't know any of the details.
I can tell you one thing. I was told by the people at Tiny Rebel Games that he's coming.
Sure.
As in really soon. Because I was like, hey, when might we get the 12th Doctor? I was told they were sworn to secrecy, but you don't have much longer to wait.
Sure.
So I'm assuming that when we play that first episode, we get him at 100% drop.
Think first episode or end of?
Well, the thing is, when we talked to Lee that one time about when they did the Christmas special with the wooden Cybermen, they wanted to prove that they can, as soon as the episode airs, drop a level.
Available.
And that's what they did.
Okay, good.
So I'm really wondering, I mean, if we're just going to get one episode, like one level, like maybe a special area where we're just getting pieces of the season, and then later on we'll get a longer season.
Sure.
We don't know. We're excited. I cannot wait.
Did we mention last week that Tom Baker's Doctor will be showing up soon?
I don't remember if we did or didn't.
They also posted that. If you're not a part of the Doctor Who Legacy newsletter, go ahead and sign up for that now. You get some great information. You don't have to wait on us to find out this information, though.
Yeah.
We do appreciate your stopping by.
Yeah.
But definitely join up with them. All right, so
One more thing with Doctor Who Legacy. One, we don't have a confirmed list of the dual colors. Didn't get around to it. Dragon Con's more important, along with our what we're getting ready to do for the premiere of Season 8. But we did find out why we don't have a Donna Noble. Because that's been one of the most asked about characters, because we pretty much have everybody else in Tennant's Run.
Sure.
And especially now we have Moff. Catherine Tate or the BBC or agents or lawyers or something have not signed off.
Sure.
We just know somebody has not signed off on the character, so that is why we don't have a Donna Noble. It doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon. I hope we're wrong. I hope we get her sooner than later, but that's why we don't have her. It's just nobody signed off on it yet.
Another nice thing about a game like this, if we're going to be looking at the entire 50 years of the show, some of our characters we're thinking, oh man, how long is it before we get Sarah Jane? Well, it shouldn't have been until season 5 or so. Actually, no, season 4, right? But we get them in advance. So some of the characters we're going to get, classic characters we're going to get early, some of the newer two we're going to get a little bit later, and that's fine. Eventually, it's going to assume that we're going to get all of them.
And I can't remember if I read this in a newsletter or an email from Lee or some other source, but I'm hearing we're going to see some more classic stuff coming down the pipeline really
Sounds
soon.
fantastic to
Yes.
me. I went ahead and bought for the second time access to the fan area. I did it this time for the Facebook because it doesn't transfer from one to the other. Having a lot of fun with that, but I've gotten almost all the characters. I've gotten almost all the outfits. I've unlocked all the S perks, and so now it's what I'm moving ahead in. So
And then you also have the expert levels next.
expert levels, which
Yeah.
I'm just not that much of an expert. So we'll see. That'll keep me nice and challenged.
Yeah.
On the rumor.
On the rumor, not a lot going on right now, other than we've heard, like I said, we might be getting an announcement in theaters,
Maybe.
which means we might hear something Saturday. But one thing that has been floating around from a variety of sources is that they're expecting an end to this whole Omni rumor by the end of the year. Whether that's true or not, who can say, but this is the first time I've ever heard of any sort of end date.
Okay.
It could be that Philip Morris finally finishes exploration of Africa as best he can, and is done there. Because we do know that he did ship over, one of those giant one of those giant shipping containers of like 600,000, I think, or 60,000 cans of film. I can't remember the exact amount. It's a lot. It fills up one of those things, and so. Maybe we'll finally know, finally have a definitive answer if we're going to get any new Who back or not. But this is the first time we're hearing this, so that's that.
Okay. Hey, you mentioned something about the movie. Wanted to go ahead and throw that out there. We do know that some of the special footage that we are going to be seeing at Deep Breath in the theaters on the 25th is going to include Jenny and Strax and Fostra. So we know it's going to be special, theatrical release only. That's all the BBC is saying right now.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Cool.
All right. We have a legacy list. Sorry, legacy. We have a Series 8 list. It technically is part of the Doctor Who legacy, but last week we announced that the second episode of the Series 8 was going to be called Into the Dalek.
Yes.
But we have, the BBC has released, I think the next day, the BBC released the complete list of all episode names, who's going to be directing them, who's going to be writing them. So, if you aren't interested in having those spoiled for you, go ahead and turn off now, which you're not going to do. So that's fine. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over that list. We're going to tell you every episode, who wrote it, who directed it. We're not going to worry about who starred in it because, quite frankly, I don't know half of these actors, so I'm not even going to worry about it. And then we'll just talk a few thoughts. This is not going to be spoilerific. We don't know anything about these. We may try to connect the dots with some of the images we saw from the trailers, but for the most part, it's just going to be us making guesses.
Commentary.
And comment.
Yeah, because I mean, if there's a title that you're particularly interested in seeing the episode for, let us know. And guys, let us know what you think is going to be a awesome title or an episode that you're really, really looking for. And since he has his mask, I have my mask.
You know what? I don't think his eyebrows look nearly as intimidating in that one.
No, they don't. Okay, so episode 1, we know Deep Breath.
Written by Stephen Moffat and directed by Ben Wheatley. We know it takes place in Victorian London. We know there's going to be a dinosaur in it. We know there's a guy who's going to go, hand glozing, half a face kind of a thing. We get to see them. We know the Paternoster gang is going to be in there. And yes, I know more information than that. But I'm not going to explain it because it's stuff that isn't on the official BBC website. So
excited?
Of course I'm excited. New Who is back. And I was going over my calendar of the weekend with my wife, and she asked me if she would get a chance to see me this weekend. And I kind of explained to her what was going on, and so she goes, "That's a no. I'm changing my work schedule. I'm canceling bingo to watch it in the theaters." I'm guessing that at the least, I'm going to see it twice. I'm going to see it when it's first released on television, and then I'm going to see it in the theaters on Monday. At most, not including any home viewing I might do, I will end up seeing it 4 times. We'll see. At that first viewing, we'll see if that's good. But there is the regular release, there's a midnight release, there's the movie theater release. I think, and you and I had discussed it at one point in time, I think if I do see it more than once on Saturday, I'm going to wait on not watch it on Sunday and just give myself a moment to breathe before watching it on Monday night.
I think that's a good idea, but though sadly, I think I'm going to watch it more than that because not only do I have to watch it not only for our show,
but you have Dragon.
I have Dragon Con, and I'm on a panel talking about new Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be something brought up. I want to be able to bring my A game with that.
Sure.
But I'll tell you, the thing I'm most excited about for Deep Breath is that, one, new Doctor, new season. I think the biggest thing I'm looking forward to about it is seeing it in theaters with all the fans, because it was so much fun seeing the 50th in theaters.
Yeah.
That is what's getting me really, really excited. I mean, I'm excited about seeing it on that Saturday, possibly seeing it again on Sunday, but the one I'm really looking forward to is that Monday night and watching with the fans.
Absolutely, because there's nothing like having the lights go down at the beginning of that movie and then having 30 sonic screwdrivers suddenly go off in the middle of a crowded theater.
Because it's almost like a pre-Dragon Con party for me.
I will say this, the only time I've ever felt anything like that in the theaters was going to watch Star Wars Episode 1, back when I had hopes and dreams that hadn't been crushed. But
here's the thing, and I'm going to break the Doctor Who wall here for a second. I think we're going to get that again in next year.
What, you think we're going to
We're going to get that
crushed?
love of Star Wars again.
Oh.
And I think we're just lightsabers. I think this is going to be an amazing thing.
I think you're speaking for yourself on that one. I think I might be done. But you know what? That's for a different podcast.
Yeah, I know.
So let's talk about the second one.
Second one, we know Into the Dalek, written by Phil Ford, and Stephen Moffat. Directed by Ben Wheatley again.
So of course they film these in blocks, directorial blocks. So episodes 1 and 2 are filmed together. There's a really good interview with Phil Ford on the newest Radio Free Skaro. They did an interview with him about some of the stuff. There's no spoilers. They filmed it or recorded maybe about 3 weeks ago
Mm-hmm.
before even the title was released. The only thing he said in it is that you will see Daleks in a completely different angle, from a completely different angle, which clever man. So this was Moffat said, Phil, I got an idea for you. Pitched the idea. Phil said, I'm running with it. So am I excited? Well, it's New Who. Of course I'm excited. It's a Dalek episode, and you know what? With the exception, okay, here's the thing. Last Dalek episode we got was Asylum of the Daleks, right?
Yeah.
Other than the brief glimpse in
Yeah.
Time of the Doctor and Day of the Doctor, Asylum was really good. I really enjoyed it. So this is going to be kind of that turning point for me, because if they can do a good job, if they can make them scary, if they can make them just not useless mechanical devices that speak in an irritating voice, I might be excited about Daleks again.
And one thing I want to say, because I mean, we were talking about dialects earlier, just in general. I found the black and white dialects much scarier, much more evil than their modern counterparts.
So what you're saying is pre-Pertwee Daleks.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
because they were just, they still have, I don't want to say the human factor, but, they were much more evil. They were scheming, they had personality. And, I would love to see that come back.
Certainly. I think what you're seeing is a Doctor Who creation, Daleks in particular, unencumbered by the weight of mythology.
Yeah.
People aren't going, well, the Daleks were like this back then. And so to bring what people want rather than innovative, I think that's what we're going for. And I agree with you, and I think that's very cool. Plus, man, things are almost always scarier in black and white because it still has that certain amount of imagination that has to go along with it.
Okay, episode 3. And I think this is one you're excited about. Robots of Sherwood.
The Robot of Sherwood, yeah. So that one's a Mark Gatiss episode.
Yes, and directed by Paul Murphy.
Okay. Paul Murphy is one of those, and I know we talked about Paul Murphy at one point in time. I remembered then what Paul Murphy had done. I don't remember now what he's done. I like Gatiss. I like his stuff. And once again, he is giving us something that is not from the future. He's either going to do contemporary or from the past. I'm a big Robin Hood fan. There's some thought that the giant robot with the purple something or other may be involved with this one.
I could see that.
Cool.
I'll say this. The thing I was surprised about Robots of Sherwood, I thought that was going to be a later episode.
Mm-hmm.
I did not think we were going to be getting so early on. From the way they were talking, I don't want to say rumor, just with the way people were talking, it felt like it was going to be a much later episode.
Well, it could be that they moved to the block, but I don't think so because the shooting schedule is pretty set. But
Yeah, it's just, it's one that I thought was going to come later. Okay, then we have Listen.
Which is interesting, isn't it? Because they had a teaser for Listen a month ago where he just says, listen.
Yeah.
So we got the Doctor puppet.
Yeah, it's also it's a Stephen Moffat episode.
Sure.
It's directed by Douglas McKinnon.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I find interesting about this, I mean, we know nothing about it, but it's another one-word Moffat episode.
I know, I was just going to say
episode.
the exact same thing. Moffat likes his one-word episodes.
But I mean, honestly, if it falls under the same tradition of Blink,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm all for it because Blink was a great episode. It would be great to see another Dr. Light episode. Even though we don't know this Doctor as well, and this will only be the fourth episode, but why not give us a Dr. Light episode? Those are great episodes.
It's possible. I'm going to go ahead and guess right now that since what Moffat's MO is sort of to give us everyday objects and try to make them scary, we're going to go with sound or lack thereof.
Yeah.
I've always found...
But didn't we sort of get that, at least with the sound with silence?
We didn't. Because the silence never did anything that was silent. Everything with them was memory. Yeah. At the end of Vampires of Venice, we have that moment where he says, Rory, listen. And it's nothing, and that's the silence. We hear the silence will fall. And that's before they realize what they're going to do. Really, it was a misstep on their part, I believe. But maybe, who knows? Maybe Moffat's tying those seasons together. Again, entirely conjecture.
Yeah. Episode 5, Time Heist.
Time Heist.
Written by Stephen Thomas.
Stephen Thomas,
and Stephen Moffat.
Okay, so here's the thing with Stephen Thomas.
And really quick, also directed by Douglas McKinnon, The Blocks.
Yeah. Stephen Thompson. Is it Thompson? Thompson. He's the one who's given us Curse of the Black Spot and Journey to the Center of the TARDIS. Now, You like it.
One hit, one miss.
Okay, if it wasn't about pirates and it didn't have Amy in a pirate costume, you know what? Actually, I'll tell you what. I've gone back and watched Curse of the Black Spot. In theory, I think it's an excellent episode. I don't think it worked quite as well as it wanted to, but I think all the parts were there. It just didn't make sense.
And also now I have another soft spot for it because it is a sequel to The Smugglers.
Sure. The thing with Stephen Thompson
Actually,
is,
a prequel to The Smugglers. Sorry.
The thing with Stephen Thompson is that when he works with Moffat closely, for instance, his name and Moffat's are both in the credits. It's an interesting thing. I don't know any information about this as to why Moffat gets his name in those credits. It could be in any number of reasons, but we do know that according to the Sign of the Three, that second Sherlock episode from 2014 season, the wedding episode, that was penned by Thompson, Moffat, and Gatiss. So if that's any indication, I think that you've got a good idea. Maybe they'll do really well together. That's something that we haven't really seen Moffat do, is work with somebody.
And one thing I like about this title, I mean, I know nothing about the episode. This is pure conjecture. It sounds like a caper.
It sounds like a caper.
I love a great caper.
I absolutely do too.
And I hope that's what we get with this.
If we got Doctor Who, a la Leverage or something along those lines, I would be absolutely thrilled. I think that would be really cool. You know what? A caper film would be really good, especially bringing somebody from history in just to throw it in along the same lines as Dinosaur on a Spaceship.
Yeah. Episode 6, The Caretaker.
Caretaker.
By Gareth Roberts and Moffat.
All right, Gareth Roberts likes to write some pretty funny stuff. He's got his history down. Okay, I have a guess on this.
Okay, because I have no clue.
My guess is we did get a line from one of the previews where Capaldi's doctor introduces Clara as, "This is Clara. She's my carer. She's the one that cares when I can't." I can't remember if it's I don't or I won't or I can't. So, caretaker, interesting. Hey, didn't Smith refer to himself as the caretaker in The Widow of the Wardrobe and the Boring episode?
Oh, you mean the one I like and the one you don't like?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah,
because he was the caretaker of the the house.
Who knows? Again.
And that's directed by Paul Murphy. Then we have this one. This one I'm actually kind of excited about. I like the title, "Kill the Moon."
Kill the Moon. Okay.
Because you can take that so many different ways. I mean, immediately you jump to
Strax.
Well, yes, Strax.
Stupid.
You think of our moon, but just think about all the other moons out there.
Absolutely.
And all the other planets. And because they're not afraid to take it off world, because they have the budget to take it off world.
Certainly.
You know, it can be any number of moon. But that is just a great title, Kill the Moon.
Yeah.
And this is actually written by one of the few people not writing with Moffat, which is interesting. The second half of the block is not done with Moffat.
Moffat contributes to 7 of the 12 scripts, right?
Yeah.
7 of the, is it 12?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. But this is done by Peter Harness and directed by Paul Williamshurst.
Williamshurst, right, yeah. So when we were looking at that, I can't remember where Williamshurst did.
Yeah.
Okay. Probably should have done my homework a little bit better on this.
But you know, hey, this is,
Watch the old episode.
Kill the Moon. You know, I love the title. It's almost as great as Let's Go Hitler, I think.
Yeah.
It has potential. It has a lot of potential.
I feel like there's God, is it from Revenge of the Nerds where they say shoot the moon? Anyway, it's obviously not shoot the moon. And Strax is not involved in this title.
Yeah.
This is not one where we'll see Dan Starkey. Well, at least not according to the reports.
Okay. Now this next one is probably the one I'm excited about the most. And honestly, I thought it was probably, and like with Sherwood, right, Roberts of Sherwood, I thought it was going to be later in the season. I thought this was going to be earlier in the season. But this is episode 8, Mummy on the Orient Express by Jamie Matheson and directed by Paul Williamshurst. I'm excited because I'm really hoping that this ties back to how we left Series 5.
With the Big Bang.
With the Big Bang and with, us,
Egyptian goddess on the Orient Express in space. We'll be right there.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, with a title like that, I'm expecting romp. Yeah?
Yeah.
Like romp. And yes, it could be very easily fall flat on its face.
Yeah.
It's in a position as in the schedule that maybe if they looked at it and went, ooh, maybe that's not our strongest episode to put it along there. But it also could be the fun one in between some weird stuff.
Yeah, because if you look at the title of the next one, but the thing is, what I'm expecting out of Mummy and the Orient Express, I'm expecting them to be on the train most of the episode. I'm expecting a lot of fast-paced action, adventure on the Orient Express. Because, I mean, that's what conjures up in my mind.
Sure.
With the Orient Express. I mean, be it a space Orient Express, be it, you know, back in the day, you know, whenever. I want something fast-paced, action-filled, because it almost has a pulp feel to it to me.
Could we find ourselves in the same situation we had with the Christmas special, where Orient Express is actually a future train that's named itself, a la the Titanic?
Yeah, and I'm fine with that because, well, I mean, outer space, Orient Express, you know, I'm fine with that. I think this is the one I'm holding up to the highest expectation, kind of like we did Journey in Center of the TARDIS.
Oh, yes, but remember what happened with Journey in Center
I know
of the TARDIS.
exactly. That's what I'm worried about. That was the one I was most excited about next to Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
Right.
But yes.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Between now and then, I know you got a busy schedule, but do you think you might actually reread the book to get yourself prepped for it?
Which book?
Murder on the Orient Express?
No. I don't, because I don't want it to be colored by anything else.
You know what? I enjoyed that book so much, and it's been about 5 or 6 years since I've read it. I think after I finish my Tom Robbins books and this next Doctor Who book I'm reading, I think that might be the next one if I can get it in the next 6 weeks.
Okay, then we have, like you were saying, you know, maybe it's a lighthearted one between a bizarre one and a heavy one. The next one's called Flatline. I mean, Flatline, you know, when you hear the word Flatline, you think about a heart
Kiefer Sutherland.
Yes, Flatliners. But you think about death.
Yeah, absolutely.
It sounds like a very heavy episode.
Especially when you consider the Doctor has 2 hearts.
Yeah. Or here's one thing. We never saw how Clara's mother died.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
So, I mean, this could be another Father's Day.
That's interesting.
But we forgot to say this one is also written by Jamie
Matheson
and directed by Douglas McKinnon.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I mean, I definitely think it's going to have to do with death. Because, I mean, that's what you think of Flatline, unless, of course, they're going to play on words, which I wouldn't put it past them.
Moffat is notorious for that.
It's not written by Moffat.
Yeah.
And I do know that a lot of, at least in Classic Who, the writer did come up with the title.
It's entirely possible. The Modern Who, you know, Moffat's going to go, hey, listen, I got this idea. I really want to have this, and this. You write it. It's like Davies going, listen, I want an episode that's going to have werewolves and kung fu monks. Go. And, we get tooth and claw. But who knows? I have stayed as far away from those scripts because I believe that the first 5 of those scripts are now available online. You can read those. I think even 6 of them.
Yeah.
So we're moving into this territory now where, and I think we're moving to the one I may be most excited about.
Okay. Episode 10, written by Frank Cotterell Boyce and directed by Cherie Folkson? It's called Episode 10, In the Forest of the Night.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
What gets you excited? Because
William Blake! Tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night when immortal hand or eye can frame their fearful symmetry.
Okay.
So, could it be that we might have, I don't know, a Van Gogh kind of episode?
You mean a historical?
Not a true historical. You know we're not going to get a historical.
You never know, we might.
We might, and if that's the case, then this would be a really good one. William Blake, here's the beautiful thing about William Blake, is as a poet, Blake's brain was this amazing thing. And he was a fabulous artist. Not so much in technique, but just the imagery he came up with. So his kind of near mythical poetry and the things he came up with, who's to say that it's not inspired by some kind of crazy thing going on with the Doctor? I really like when they take a character out of history and do something wacky and zany with them, and so possibly that one might be a good one.
Question.
Or maybe they're going to have fighters, who knows?
Do you know if that is a female director? I can't tell what that's spelling.
Cherie Folkson, no clue.
Okay.
This list came out, a couple days ago. I knew it was there, and I haven't, now having it in front of me, I almost feel like I just don't want to learn anymore.
No.
I kind of feel like this deluge of information, and it's almost like right after the 50th, where it's just kind of like, sure, Time of the Doctor's coming up, but I'm kind of sick of Doctor Who. I'm just waiting for the dam to burst, and I kind of don't want to add any more.
Well, of course, we're going to talk about these directors and these writers.
Of course, we will go over that.
Our reviews of the episodes.
Yeah, and we'll be comparing them to their prior work.
Yeah.
So,
and the two-part finale, Dark Water, Death in Heaven, written by Stephen Moffat, directed by Rachel Talalay. And I'm assuming that's definitely a female.
Well, that's she is a professor in Canada, and she directed Tank Girl.
Oh, I'm sold. I am sold. Okay, you just made. I'm not sure which one I'm more excited about between Time Heist, Mummy and the Orient Express, and now this two-parter, because I am a huge fan of Tank Girl. I thought that movie was absolutely perfect. I know people hate that movie right and left, but I don't think they see the real brilliance in that film.
Yeah, it's a great film.
God.
Laura Petty, where'd you go? Anyway,
DragonCon last year.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, there's a reason I don't go to DragonCon. I would just make an ass of myself. That being said, Dark Water and Death in Heaven. Ooh, Moffat bringing in the Dark Doctor.
And the interesting thing is I mean, and I'm not going to spoil anything here because you go online. We know who's making a comeback in this episode.
We do.
We know who the monster enemy big bad for this episode is.
Actually, we don't know who the big bad is,
but we know
who's making an appearance.
Yes.
We've mentioned it several times over. It's really not even spoilerific, but if you watch our old episodes, go online and look at it. But
wow, way to go, Moffat, for pulling something like this off. What I'm curious about, even more so now, if they film this as a larger piece and they just decided where to chop it, or if they actually did film it as 2 individual episodes.
Well, Moffat, as a scriptwriter, has a tendency to do two-parters in a very specific manner, wherein the first part is a big story, and then the second part is a continuation, but usually feels like a separate film. I appreciate that as a scriptwriter. It could be that he's going to move away from that. It could be that he's going to give an example of what he's capable of.
Well, what I think is interesting is, and I'm really curious about this 11/12 since it's being directed by the same person. Because he did the 50th anniversary as a movie, was a movie in theaters, we're getting Deep Breath as a longer episode in theaters. Could this have been written as one thing so they can show it and film like a single episode so it can be shown in theaters?
I think commercially that is an incredibly valid idea. I didn't even think about that. I'm going to go ahead and say, and I'm sure you agree with me on this one, that we're going to get one on one week and one on the other, but you're saying maybe could it be that on week 12 in theaters we could get a repeat performance of 11 to tie in with that?
Yeah, come week 12, we can go to theaters, see 11/12 put together, or on that Monday, but see 12 by itself on that Saturday. Monday for us, we could see 11/12 put together in the theater.
I think that would be a great idea, and I think we are definitely looking towards that kind of big event television.
And I think it all depends on episode 1, Deep Breath. And from what I'm hearing, it's going to do just as well as Day of the Doctor.
People, once again, just want to say thank you to all the Doctor Who fans who have seen it already and have kept their mouths shut.
Thank you, yes.
There's scripts out there, there's working cuts, there's special cuts, there was the stuff that was released to the press. Yeah. Folks have seen it at special releases on the 7th, all right? That was 2 weeks ago. And, we haven't heard anything, which is great. And they're showing it once again that they are capable of sitting on something pretty magnificent. They did so with Silent of the Daleks, which, can you imagine if they had spoiled that reveal for us?
Wow. And the thing is, first time I saw that, I didn't realize that was her until we did the episode. And that's when it hit me. I was like, oh my God, that's...
Large quantities of profanity in front of children. When I saw that when I was watching at a friend's house. Ginny's last bit. So, it's like, small child, like, oh! Yeah, I saw it. It was exciting. I was like, it couldn't possibly be. Anyway, so yeah.
So that's it.
Hey, that's 12 episodes. You can tell we're excited about it. We're only going to get more excited about it. Join us next week where we will be going an in-depth look at episode 158, Deep Breath.
158 might actually be us just gushing after the theater, or a pre-thing.
A minisode, right.
A minisode.
Sure.
Which, honestly, I'm just thinking about that. We did not get a minisode this time around. for the start of the season.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. What we're getting instead of the little webisodes or what were they called them, tartisodes? Well, that's what they called them for a while. You know, Moffat did specifically say that he's looking at doing webisodes in the future.
Yeah.
He has also, I don't know if we mentioned this last time, he has not specified a time as far as, you know, it's not going to be 15 minutes. He said they could very well be an hour-long webisode. We got our teasers, we got some promos, but you're right, maybe they didn't. Maybe they're saving it for the theater. Maybe whatever they've got coming for us is bigger than that, and maybe we'll start getting them. Who knows? No one has said anything.
So, so next time we'll have our very new intro.
We're going to be talking. Oh, yes, right.
We're going to have a brand new intro.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Not complete.
Yeah.
So one way or another, the next episode we will be talking about Deep Breath. Either just our reaction to seeing it in the theater, or the full commentary on it.
Yes. So until next time, this is GPR signing off. Peace.